light for now. 11 games for us the last 2 times.
I know. I'm happy that it's flattening out. But we are live. Here we are, Wednesday, November 6th, NBA Strategy Show. 9-game slate, as some of you heard me count off as the stream started. I am joined by Sal Vetri. Sal, what's going on, man?
What's going on? Yeah, excited to break it down. Like we were saying, we got somewhat of a lighter slate for us on Wednesdays, but yeah. I mean, the biggest one as of late, but it's good. It's balanced out. I like it.
I'm very happy. I like it a lot. I would greatly prefer, like 7-8-7-8-7 to 3-11, 3-11. Just give me the same thing over and over again. I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah, I agree. And I remember last week we said that it's supposed to happen at least for the next week too.
Yeah, up until Thanksgiving, I think it's like relatively flat in the weeks.
Okay, good. Yeah, nice little treat.
Yeah. Let's dig into a little bit of yesterday's slate. Jabari Parker, the chalkiest play of the day in the $8 on DraftKings. That's probably not all that surprising. He did exactly what you were expecting. Really hard to just take anything away from that. He was just underpriced for the role that he was going to have now that John Collins is on the gas.
Yeah, and DraftKings immediately, at least for today, not to bury the lead, immediately just said, we're not going to let you do that again with Jabari Parker, and price him to a point where I'm not too sure we can get to him. But yeah, yesterday did exactly what you wanted him to do. Paid off the chalk and more. I assume he's in the winning lineups?
I'd be shocked if he wasn't. Winning lineup, Jabari Parker, yes.
Yep.
Winning lineup had Jabari. LeBron, second most owned guy, got exactly what you were looking for there. AD, third most owned, did not quite get what you needed out of that one. LeBron went for 69.5. AD, 35.25. That's not great. And then obviously, fourth most owned guy, my man Goga, coming out of Indiana, 32.25. 8.1 value on DraftKings. Very, very, I don't know. There's something about the value yesterday where 2 days ago, there were so many options that you could get away, where yesterday was a little more cut and dry. You really had to you had to have a very specific reason to get away from Jabari or get away from Goga once you knew everybody was out. Like those were just the guys that you had to play.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they're the ones that actually opened up his value and weren't just like built-in value, where the night before we had built-in value because DraftKings just didn't price up like 10 players that should have been priced up for suspension and injuries from previous games.
Right. Going to be a little bit different today. Going to be a little bit different. It was a little bit different yesterday. I thought I was getting some value out of KCP. Boy, was I wrong. Which I should have known better, honestly. Hate that dude. Never pays me off. Days that I don't have him.
From me.
Days that I don't have him are the days that he does well. Never goes well when I do have him.
Yeah, I mean, the usage just crushed with those two other guys out there with Bron and AD. Yeah, AD, I don't know if it just – the first half was miserable. He just wasn't picking up anything. He ends up taking a decent amount of shots, just doesn't do anything with LeBron sucking up everything once again. So, yeah, what is that, 3 triple-doubles in a row for Bron. He looked good. I was telling you before the show, I was in a bar for 20 minutes. Devontae Graham, apparently from Raleigh, starts going off, and in the first quarter of a basketball game, I had no idea what was going on. The place is cheering like it's the NBA Finals. But, Devontae Graham just continues to absolutely just chalk off the bench right now. And he's looking better than Terry Rozier. Yeah. He should be on the court a lot more, and he is. I mean, he's playing like 30 minutes a game, but yeah, he looked great last night as someone I expect wasn't as highly owned coming off the bench.
6.8% exposure in this contest. He was the fourth highest overall scorer. Only 4 guys went north of 50. LeBron, Gordon Hayward, who looked fantastic. I think 15 to 17 from the field or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, he flirted with a triple-double. I mean, it wasn't as close, but I think he had 8 rebounds, 8 assists, or somewhere around there. He flirted with a triple-double late in the game.
He couldn't miss. Let me pull it up now just because I want to make sure I get the line right, because I think he deserves us saying it correctly. He was 17 of 20 from the field, which is insane. Didn't miss a free throw. So in all of the shots that he took yesterday, 21 of 24.
Wow.
Kudos, Gordon Hayward. Welcome back. 39, 8, and 7. Winning lineup yesterday. Oh, by the way, for those of you, like, once that Trae Young limited to 30 minutes news came out, I think everybody was like, okay, well, now we can get away. Third highest scorer yesterday, 57.5, and he played like garbage in the first half. He did that all in the second half. Absolute craziness.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him definitely today. Like he's just playing out of his mind right now. He's playing out of his mind, and he's just shooting insane for a guy who's like not driving all that much right now. It's nuts that everything that guy's putting up is going in, and yeah, he's the entire team, especially with Collins out.
Yeah, winning lineup yesterday: Brogdon, Kobe White, 1% owned. That was the piece, I guess. 31.75 fantasy points at 4,200. LeBron, Goga, Tristan Thompson, Graham, as we mentioned, Gordon Hayward, as we mentioned, Jabari Parker, as we mentioned. I had a relatively uneventful day yesterday. As a core, I was not going to be profitable. I did, however, win the $5 on fantasy draft. So, yay me. Won it going away, too.
Congrats.
Yeah. Not that it was like any sort of crazy pay. I'm not, a millionaire or anything now, but beating out 999 other people will work for me. Devontae Graham, Brogdon, Kemba, Goga, Gordon Hayward, Jabari, LaMarcus Aldridge, LeBron James. So I'll put the W in the win column for me. Turned a day that was supposed to look like garbage into a fairly profitable day. That's all.
Nice.
All it takes is one.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I was hoping to get more out of Aldridge. I mean, he had a great first half, especially towards the end of the second quarter. He just started piling on points, doesn't do much in the second half. Same thing. I had a good amount of SGA. Same thing. Has a great first half, doesn't do much in the second half. Really would save my day and made it a slightly profitable day was for up until lock or after, I was really waiting on the Will Barton news because pretty much my main lineup and a lot of 3-max lineups, I had like a mixture of like a Paul Millsap or just something that didn't feel great in a utility or a flex spot, and then just switched onto Will Barton. It got lucky that he was in there too. I think he had like 35 or 38 points, ends up lifting me up late in that game. I just kept seeing it go up by each quarter. So yeah, a good spot. It's probably somewhat lucky that guy was actually healthy.
Yeah, it's a tumultuous day for Barton, going from, no one paying attention to him to immediately necessary in a way. So yeah, happy with the W. Shout out to Fantasy Cruncher for that one. Bang. Let's get into the plugs. I'm going to drop the link into chat right now. Cash building blocks. This is Emacs article. This comes out every single day. It's got some information on signing up at our presenting sponsor, which would be Yahoo Sports. If you follow the link at the top of the article, use the promo code AWESEMO, you can get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Their big contests every week are called the Baller. I believe this week in NFL is $250K. I'm pulling it up now. It is. I was right. I'm just good like that. $10 entry fee. You can do 150 max now. They've got CSV edits. So really coming along. They've got the 50K Baller going tonight for the NBA. Same $10 entry fee. A little bit smaller of a prize pool since it's the NBA, but $10K to first. So a really, really nice contest. Highly recommended. You're paying less management fees in these contests on Yahoo than you are in most other places across the industry. I highly recommend you check out Yahoo and check out Emacs article. Information is right here at the top. If you haven't signed up for Yahoo, just follow this link and use that promo code AWESEMO. And then finally, if you just want to sign up to AWESEMO itself, head to the homepage, awesemo.com. You can click this AWESEMO Plus button in the top corner. And this will take you to our join page. You could use the promo code NBA Strategy when signing up. Get 50% off your first month with us, whether that's platinum memberships that cover everything, individual sports. We've got it all: NFL, NBA, hockey, golf. Not this week because we still have golf content, but the actual PGA is sort of off this week. NASCAR, soccer, MMA, sports betting articles, college basketball. Ben's doing a little bit of work for that. No projections or anything yet, guys. College basketball is crazy. There's too many teams. That would be quite the workload. But if you want to sign up for us and check out what we have to offer, use the promo code NBA Strategy. And more importantly, everybody that's here right now, don't be afraid to hit that like button. We're doing some more fun stuff with likes over these next couple days and unlocking some of our premium content for you guys. We can get some decent interaction, but we do have free content today. Alex's game plan live stream, the behind the paywall stream that Alex has been doing for the NBA season so far. We're going to put that out in front today. Want you guys to see what we have going on for Alex. That is at 4 p.m. Eastern time. NFL projections and NHL projections are both the free content for today. You got to hit that like button. Make it worth our while. Make it worth our while. So we got 9 games today. Lots to talk about. We got some real weird ones too. Value in weird places. Guys that have broken my heart in the past couple days, and I have to go back to them. You ready to talk about it?
Yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. Let's get into it.
Alrighty. First game up, Pistons and Knicks. If this were 1991, this might be a little bit more interesting. Pistons 107.25 implied total. Knicks 105.25. We got to start on the Pistons side. They are still without anybody resembling a point guard. But Andre Drummond is 11-4 on FanDuel, 10-8 on DraftKings, 19-2 on Fantasy Draft, and $15 on Yahoo. How do you feel about the centerpiece of the Pistons today, Andre Drummond?
Yeah, I mean, I think that across all the sites, they finally got his price probably right. Like, I don't think it's overpriced. We're just going to see on a slate that seems to have a lot of nice pay-up spots for guards, how much I actually want to get to him. But, I mean, look at what he's doing this year. I mean, still no Blake there. There's nothing helping out at the power forward position if they keep trying to start Keith Morris at the 4. So 19.4 rebounds per game. This guy is just absolutely ridiculous. 5 offensive rebounds per game right now. He's 18th, or the Knicks are 18th overall in overall defensive rating. It's just another decent spot. The Knicks are actually rebounding well, but that makes sense when you sign every single power forward in free agency. So the price point probably keeps me away from him more so than it has in the past, just because you have a ton of guards on this slate at least, and also Karl-Anthony Towns coming back at a cheaper point. So yeah, I think it's a fair price point on him. I mean, for what he's been doing in the point per minute production, just now to a point where I don't prioritize it.
Yeah, on FanDuel right now, we've got 3 guys north of 10K, Embiid, Towns, and Drummond. I have them personally right now, Towns, Drummond, Embiid. We'll see where that ends up as we get closer to lock, but you can't really go wrong with any one of those guys. It's really the rest of the Pistons that matter most today. Luke Kennard for 5,500 on FanDuel is just underpriced. He's 6K on DraftKings. He's $15 on Yahoo. No-brainer play on Yahoo. To me, a no-brainer play on FanDuel as well. And then we've got to talk about this is the guy that we need to talk about most, I think. And it's not Bruce Brown, because his price is where it should be now for the amount of time he's playing. What the hell do we do with Markieff Morris?
Yeah. I mean, personally, if I'm the Pistons, I start Christian Wood. I mean, is there a reason not to be starting Christian Wood at this point for the team? I mean, yeah, more so. A lot of it is like last game was just complete foul trouble. I got off of him thanks to all the value. He gets 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes. Guy doesn't step back on the court for the most part, so does anything meaningful. So yeah, he's $3,800 on DraftKings. If he's gonna start at this point, if there no more value opens up, I'm probably gonna be just chasing it again. I'm not gonna feel great about it at all. I'm hoping that we just see Christian Wood take over at power forward, because then I'll just get right there for obvious reasons. Wood's just so much better in terms of just point per minute production, and then just blocking, and on the defensive end, he's there as well. I mean, Markieff Morris is not doing much of anything right now in terms of blocks, 0.2% this season, just nothing there. Rebounding rates is worse than Wood. So yeah, I'm going to go back to it because of the price point and the built-in value right now. I'm just hoping that more opens up, maybe even in his own team.
You and me both. He's averaging 0.64 FanDuel points per minute so far this season. I have him in for 28 minutes because I had him in for more than that, and it was breaking everything that I tried to do. So I tried to at least walk it back a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what to do. He's 3,800 on DraftKings, and he has averaged on this season 27 minutes a game. That includes this 14-minute game where he was in immediate foul trouble. He played 31 and 34 and 32 minutes in the 3 previous games. This dude seems to be set up for 30 minutes, no problem. And he's priced at 3,800 still on DK because that's how bad he has been. I'm going to play a lot of Markieff Morris again until they tell me otherwise. I would have to know that he is not starting. Now, the good news is we should have information on the Pistons before lock. So luckily for us, this is a 7 o'clock game, but I don't think that I'm getting away from him until I'm told otherwise, which is absolutely depressing.
Yeah, it's not great. And is he small forward eligible still or no?
That's a good question.
Yeah, he is. So
yes,
yeah, he's small forward eligible. So that's I'm gonna get him. So I just know I'm gonna get him at this point, at this price point. Yeah, he's had 2 or 3 games where he's in foul trouble, and he hasn't been great. Like a 12.4% rebounding rate is terrible. It's going to get just crushed when Andre Drummond is standing next to you, anyways. But just not great overall. I'm not surprised if Christian Wood starts in this game, though. It would maybe shock me a little bit today, but like over the next week or two, if you told me this keeps up, it doesn't shock me at all.
Christian Wood averaging 1.04 FanDuel points per minute over this season so far. Legalized with the perfect question for FanDuel. Or not question, but comment. Josh, you know they got rid of the drop player feature, right? It's pretty
Oh, you might have to 100% him at that point.
Yeah.
If it was still there. But yeah, I mean, his usage is fine. Like it's close to 20% for a guy that's standing next to Andre Drummond in this offense. And then you have no point guard, so it should only go up a little bit more playing against a big team. But yeah, I think 3,800 is completely fine on him. It's just a matter of if he's going to be in the starting lineup. He has to do better, like eventually. Otherwise, he's just going to get yanked.
Do you have any interest in Bruce Brown now that the price has come up?
Yeah, I think I do in DraftKings, like $5,300. I think it's still a fine price tag. I think it's more than fair. I mean, we saw in the preseason this guy was playing well when he had the ball in his hands, and he continues to do that. Like the top 3 point guards are out, close to a 20% usage rate with these guys out, close to a 13% assist percentage, and those numbers are both significantly up by about 30% since he's taken over as a point guard these last 2 games. So yeah, I think 5,300 is a fair price. There's some other spots on the slate that I just feel more secure about sort of a ceiling, but we've seen what he's done in the last 2 games as the guy and playing a ton of minutes. So yeah, Bruce Brown seems fine. You touched on Kennard for FanDuel. For DraftKings, I think he's priced right where he should be. So if any value opens up, I probably just get away from Kennard. If not, he's fine for 6K. He's probably priced exactly where his median comes in.
Okay, we're on the same page there. What else we got here? Let's hop over to New York. Still no Dennis Smith. Still no Elfrid Payton. I think this team is the worst. God, I can't stand them. To me, there are 3 guys that I'm willing to have from New York tonight: Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson. How do you feel about those 3 guys? And am I missing anybody?
Yes, I'll start on Randall. He's the guy that I want the most. The price tag on DraftKings, at least, is really intriguing.
Yeah.
He's been playing really bad, but they just moved in the last game Mitchell Robinson back to the bench, and you get Bobby Portis starting, which in theory should help Julius Randle in terms of just spacing out the floor a little bit. I mean, he's turning the ball over just at a crazy rate right now, like 21%, but everything else looks fine. I mean, he has a 25.3% usage rate, 23.7% assist rate. So Randle at this price point, I mean, it's coming down. It's like a good buy low spot on him. I don't have as much interest in Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench. It's just not a spot that I'll probably get to. You probably get 22 minutes out of him. But that's in tournament, you're looking for the upside of he just breaks out with a 26-28 game in terms of the minutes there. So for me, it's mainly Julius Randle. I think it's interesting. Markey, the Morris brothers are going to be playing each other. I do think Marcus Morris is in an okay spot. The price tag coming up, I think, has some value around it. He's seeing close to a 20% usage rate, getting stable minutes, which is just only a couple players really bear it, and maybe Randall can say that for this team right now. So I think it's an interesting spot. Like he's shooting out of his mind the last 2 games from 3, but the first couple of games he was shooting terrible. You balance that out a little bit. I think he's priced right around that Luke Kennard range of 6K where they probably hit a median often. So it's really just Randall from this team standing out for me, and I'm probably not going to have any Frank Ntilikina no matter how cheap they keep him.
Yeah, Randall is definitely my priority as well. I like him even more for 12-7 on Fantasy Draft. That stands out as my favorite price tag across the Knicks. And RJ Barrett's just going to keep playing 36-plus minutes. I have to at least be a little interested.
Yeah, that's true. What is his price on FanDuel?
He's 7K on FanDuel, 6,700 on DraftKings. So for FanDuel, he's priced the same as Fred VanVleet. I prefer Barrett. He's slightly cheaper than Chris Middleton. I'd rather have Barrett. He's $500 cheaper than Jeremy Lamb. I'd rather have Barrett. $6,900 Andrew Wiggins is close. Boy, those guys are going to have some, I don't know. They're not the same player at all, but I feel like when I hear RJ Barrett's name, I'm going to see Andrew Wiggins. But I think that I'm just pessimistic on RJ Barrett's future, and I need to get with the program.
Yeah, the minutes are the big thing. And yeah, even on DraftKings, there's guys around him, I think, above him that I'd rather have right in his range, like you're in the Lou Williams, Mike Conley range. So I'll probably get some, but it's going to be really just Randall from this team. And I'm not shocked if I have a good amount of him.
All righty. Let's keep it moving here. We'll go to Indiana, Pacers and Wizards. 113 implied total for the Pacers, 107.5 for the Wiz. Malcolm Brogdon, 9K on FanDuel, 8,100 on DraftKings, which I believe is $100 cheaper than he was yesterday.
Yeah.
He stands out as an incredible play on DK. He's $36 on Yahoo as well. I think that's very much in play. 9K feels expensive on FanDuel, but it's not like I have some aversion to getting to him. I just think that on DraftKings, that's the best price. Any reason you want to avoid Malcolm Brogdon?
No, I don't. And like, there's probably four guards that we'll talk about that I have a lot of interest in, and like parsing between them is tough. But Brogdon's the cheapest, and he's going to project out close to like three of those four. So yeah, Brogdon, I'm going to have a ton of interest in. I mean, this guy's just absolutely insane right now. 43% of his attempts are at the rim, so he is driving. 32.4% usage rate, 43.7% assist rate. Like everything is going through him. Even if Turner, who went from doubtful to questionable yesterday, plays in this game and you get Sabonis playing, I'm not too worried. We saw these numbers holding pretty strong, even with them on the court to start the year. He's seventh in points off of drives. He's just doing everything. And if you just saw last night, I mean, there were some ridiculous shots this guy was hitting. So he's in his own right now. There's no way I get rid of him. I saw the $100 price drop and immediately knew that I was going to have a good amount of him. Like, he should probably be a 9K player. I think he was pretty close to that, or he hit it 2 days ago, 2 games ago. He was at 8,800. So yeah, the price drop is a little bit interesting.
We need to talk about, look, we're not going to have a lot of this information until after shoot around at the very least. I have Sabonis and Turner both in. Any combination of both in, one of the two, or zero is certainly in play. From everything I read yesterday, Turner looked to be closer than Sabonis, but even if they're both in, Miles Turner is $6,600 on FanDuel today. I am all over that. And if Sabonis just happens to be out as well, even more so interested in Turner. How are you trying to hash out these two guys as of right now?
Yeah, it's all about what happens. So like primarily on DraftKings, I'll have more interest in Sabonis. Brogdon over all these guys. If they're both in, I'll have more interest in Sabonis here. Just overall opportunities, especially with playing with Brogdon, seem to be really good. 8th in touches per game in the entire league right now is Sabonis. 19th in rebounding opportunities so far. So it's a spot where I'll have Sabonis more just because of the power forward eligibility. But then on FanDuel, that price point is really good on a guy like Turner, and people probably forget because he played like 2 or 3 games, but he's probably, if he's fully healthy, and we'll see, that's a big if, going to play 36 minutes, if not somewhere more. So it's a good spot for all these guys if they're all in. Obviously, if one is out or both of them are out, you go back to what Goga, who's just not priced up enough. Once again, played 30 minutes in regulation last night before it went to overtime. So for me, I prioritize it right now. If all those guys were to be in with Brogdon, Sabonis, and then Turner, and I'd probably get a good amount of Sabonis and Brogdon.
Yeah. So I put Turner in for 32 minutes. Same for Sabonis, just to be like slightly pessimistic about them rolling them out coming back. Turner is still my best dollar for dollar center on FanDuel, even at 32. So I even built in a little bit of wiggle room for myself. And if Sabonis is out, then it's just a no-brainer for me. He's just a guy that I want to have a lot of. So Brogdon, Sabonis, Turner. Happy to get a little bit of Jeremy Lamb. Happy to get a little bit of TJ Warren, who had a little bit of a coming out party last night. That'll probably go away as Sabonis and Turner slowly come back, but he's still 5,800. I think that's viable on DK.
Yeah, he shot 83% last night from the field. I thought a lot of it when I woke up this morning was just seeing his point total going to be from rebounding. But yeah, he just shot 83%, was making everything, was really stuffing just every single stat. So yeah, he's fine at the price point if those guys miss once again. The other thing with Sabonis is I'd imagine, and we're going to find out probably by shoot around, but I'd imagine Sabonis is in. It's just more so like, it seems like it's just a bruise on his ankle rather than a sprain or anything. Again, they're going to have the day off tomorrow, so maybe they just be a little bit precautious with it. But right now, I do have Sabonis in and I have Turner out. But that's obviously something we'll know in like maybe 3 hours, hopefully.
Right. We will have this information one way or the other before lock. So there's only so much that we can like hypothesize on. Just kind of have to let everybody know the sort of the status. Let's go to the Washington side, where this is basically a 2-person race for me. I'll take some Bradley Beal. I'll take some Thomas Bryant. I'm not like incredibly enamored in either guy. I would like Bryant more if I could play more than one center on FanDuel, but I can't. I would rather have James Harden than Bradley Beal. But I think that he is probably my favorite pay-up option at shooting guard otherwise. What do you want to do with these two?
Yeah, if you're on FanDuel, definitely Bradley Beal just stands out because of the position use there. But on DraftKings, it's just other guys. Like we'll talk about Trey, Russ, Brogdon, we just talked about. Even D'Angelo Russell are guys that I have more interest in right now than Beal. I mean, it's hard to ignore just like a 36% usage rate right now. The guy's been absolutely insane, top 15 in just potential assists per game. So it's a spot where he's great. We know that if he comes in at low ownership, it's usually a spot where I start to think a little bit harder if I want to get to him because we know what this guy's ceiling is. But right now he kind of ranks behind all those guards on DraftKings for me. Isaiah Thomas seems like there's probably still going to be some sort of minutes cap on him. So even if he comes back in there, not a spot that I get to him. He was going to play, I would imagine, somewhere around 26 to 27 minutes in this game. All the starters seem to get pulled with 2 minutes left. So he finished with like 24 and a half. So I feel okay projecting him for like 26 if he plays. And then if we get any other news on it's cut off, then even more. Troy Brown Jr. had a really good game, but you had Rui just in foul trouble in that game, which is a power forward, but it just opened up more overall minutes and usage for Brown. I don't expect that to happen. So, yeah, I have interest in a little bit of Beal if it's an ownership play, and then some Isaiah Thomas, especially if we get news on his minutes.
Okay. Yeah, Troy Brown for 4K on FanDuel could be appealing. That's about it for me from Washington. I think there are just better spots out there today. Now, if Sabonis and Turner end up out, I think that creates a very different defensive environment for the Pacers. I think we'll probably see a little bit of a boost to the Wizards just as the line tightens and you're just going to have a less quality defensive team out there. So there will be a slight boost to the Wizards if we find out both guys end up being out. Goga's not holding it all down.
Yeah, exactly. Especially like you said, Thomas Bryant earlier. That's where the big one comes from.
Yeah. Alrighty. On to Atlanta now. Hawks 110.5 implied total. Chicago Bulls 108. Damn, Trae Young is dirty. 1.5 FanDuel points per minute so far this season. He is just red hot. I still have him in for 30 minutes. I can't imagine that he was on a 30-minute limit yesterday, and then they're going to play a back-to-back, and they're somehow going to let him rip. Although I do think that he is fine. Just doesn't seem like you're going to test that out on a back-to-back. So I feel pretty comparable about Trae Young that I did yesterday. If we know that he can only play 30 minutes, his true upside is limited.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably capped by, normally more times than not, you're probably seeing 5 minutes more there for him, and that's where the ceiling comes out. He's just shooting ridiculous. Like, I don't really know what to make of it. He's driving earlier in the year. He was driving a lot. As of now, just taking in all the games, he's not driving as much as he was last year, but he's just shooting absolutely better from mid-range. Now, maybe that holds, but I don't think it does going forward, but he's the entire team. So when you just consider the usage rate that he's going to have moving forward, 42%, hard not to like a 42% usage rate right now, and John Collins gone. So yeah, even if he plays 30 minutes, I'm going to have interest in him. It's just tough, like right there next to Russ Westbrook coming off of just when he was resting in a good spot for him. It's tough kind of hashing between those 9K guards. And honestly, Russ probably gets just the bump for playing 5 to 8 more minutes.
Exactly. It's really that simple. You have Russ right there. You have Brogdon for $700 cheaper with no restrictions whatsoever. I like Trae Young a lot. But when you limit
what
minutes,
happens? What happens if they say he's not? If they come out today and just say he's full go? Again, I doubt on a back-to-back, but you get 34, 35 minutes. I think that's like one of the harder decision points on the slate between him and Westbrook. I think I then tilt to Trae Young at that point.
I'd have to dig in a little bit further on the rate. So I bumped him from 30 to 34. I have not looked at. I don't do any like real digging into the granular stats until after shoot around and stuff. I don't like doing work. I don't like doing work twice. I still have Trae Young a hair behind Russ on FanDuel at $600 cheaper. On DraftKings, where the hell is Russ? 94. Where the hell is Trae Young? On DraftKings, I would prefer Russ at just $300 more.
Sounds good.
But we'll get to that ridiculous Warriors-Rockets game in a bit.
Yeah.
Because that one is going to be... It's going to be something.
No defense?
Yeah.
If you're a fan of no defense, tune in.
Ooh, yeah. Well, if you're a fan of no talent, tune into the Warriors.
Yeah.
Sorry, Warriors. You've had your run. Jabari is now priced up in some places. 7,100 on FanDuel, which is fine. 6,700 on DraftKings, which is fine. 12.3 on Fantasy Draft. $17 on Yahoo. The presenting sponsor, that's the spot you want to get him most. $17 is too cheap. He's just going to be like the other guy now for the Hawks. So I'm happy to get some Jabari Parker, but he is not the same play that he was yesterday.
Oh, yeah, not at all. I mean, rightfully so. Yeah, and on Yahoo, go ahead and get him there. But rightfully so, priced up by like almost $2,000 overnight, as he should be, just moving into a John Collins role where he's not as talented, I guess we can say. Not as talented as John Collins, but he's also not priced at that price point, $1,000 less than Collins probably would be in this spot. So it's fine to get to him. I doubt I get to as much, definitely not as much, but I doubt I get to him that often. The upside, though, especially in DraftKings, is small forward eligible. So if you're somebody who just wants to jam in power forwards and centers, you get another one there into your lineups. If you put him in that spot, you just have to pay for it now at 6,700.
What do you want to do? You want to do anything with the rest of these goons? Because I don't have much interest in a single thing on the Hawks.
Yeah, no, it's really just Trae Young. And Even then, he falls behind a couple of guys. I want to see what the ownership numbers come in on all these guys. I imagine Russ is higher than Young, but we'll see. Just the way Trey's been playing it, it might not be that case.
Okay. Chicago side, $6,400 Lauri Markkanen is something that I'm interested in. If Otto Porter is out, some minutes will start to open up. Maybe like Thad Young becomes viable, but I find myself rarely on the Bulls. They're not playing a ton of minutes either.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Markkanen, all these guys were going to actually close finally for Markkanen. Like he hadn't been closing, but they all got pulled with like a minute left. So it was good to see Markkanen's minutes finally come up in a game. They all got pulled with a minute 04 left. Are you saying Parker is it just like maintenance on a back-to-back, or you think did he get injured in this game?
Porter? No, they had just talked about doing some load management type stuff with him throughout.
Okay, that makes sense.
Since they're on the back-to-back, I'm just saying, it's just one. Like I have him in, but on the off chance he's not.
That makes sense. Yeah, like at his price point of 4,500, it's fine. He has to just pick up peripherals. Like if he shoots half decent, his 2 good games this year, he was picking up 5 or 6 rebounds. Last night, just 1. It's not going to get you there, even when he shoots well. So it's a lot to ask for a guy who seems to be a little bit out of shape, definitely dealing with whatever this hip injury he has that's lingering. Zach LaVine, we saw it last night. If he could just pop off for points, he'll probably get you there. A decent assist rate at 22%. But none of these guys are priorities. I guess Chandler Hutchinson is coming back for like 8 to 16 minutes. Yeah. I'd imagine that hurts like Thad Young off the bench, but I mean, if Porter keeps playing terrible, it could cut into his minutes, not in this game, but eventually.
Yeah, I don't know what they do. I mean, if I were doing anything, I would be lopping off Luke Cornett from the rotation and trying to move those minutes around otherwise, because he has not been great, at least for the team.
What has his minutes been? Because he's been bad.
He played a little bit less in the most recent game. I have it here. So he played... Oh, no, he played a little bit more in the most recent game. Sorry. He played 16 yesterday. It was like 10 in the 2 previous, but he's been averaging basically the straight backup center minutes for all intents and purposes.
That should probably go away. You're right. I actually do think Wendell Carter is interesting at this spot. Like it's not going to be consistently there, but you're not going to have John Collins. Alex Len's been playing like very minute minutes and kind of shaky with his injuries. So Wendell Carter played 31 minutes, would have played 32 in this past game last night, back to back. So maybe a little concerning for him, but I think it's a good spot overall for the price point. I think he's 5,900. So I'd rather take that at 5,900 on DraftKings, different position over guys like Marcus Morris or Luke Kennard in the same range.
Okay. I don't have anything else in this game.
Yeah, no, that's it. I think all these guys are just kind of meh.
Agreed. Here it comes. Houston, Golden State, Rockets, 124.5 implied total. Golden State, 108. They are 16.5-point favorites today at home against the Warriors. Whew. Yikes.
Yeah. This morning, there's like 3 games that weren't out, and I knew this one wasn't going to be out because I'm just assuming odds makers were really trying to figure out just how many points Russ and Harden were just going to drop on these guards and this team in general. Biggest probably panic spot on the entire season right now is just Golden State. Maybe not though. Maybe you just go get a first round pick.
Oh my God, this is going to be craziness. So 11.5 for Harden on FanDuel, 10.3 for Russ. I would rather have Harden. 11.2 for Harden on DraftKings, 9,400 for Russ. I would rather have Russ. How do you feel about these two guys here against Golden State?
Yeah, exactly. I agree on both ends there. Harden's price finally comes up to where it should be, but like in that last game, he still went 1 of 8 from 3, I believe. So in a game where he goes for 70 plus with no Russ, he starts to see more double teams. He could have had a 90-point game if he just hit some threes. But yeah, on DraftKings, it's Russ for me for just the price savings, and you're getting one of the best spots in terms of an opponent to go up against, teams that want to play fast here. And just no defense is going to be played here. I mean, even if D'Angelo Russell is healthy, that's not helping anything. D'Angelo Russell, if anything, helps your overall transition offense in terms of he's probably going to shoot 25 times and make 7 of them. So, it's a spot where I like Russ right now. He's right there with Trae Young. So right now for me, it's probably Brogdon as my favorite guard on the slate. And then it's kind of a Russ and Trae Young 1-1. And if Trae Young's minutes are going to be limited again, which we've been guessing, then it's going to be Russ from the 2 of them, Harden on FanDuel.
Someone just compared Eric Pascal to Draymond Green with a jump shot and better handles, which is like one of the most egregious things that I've ever read in my entire life. I
mean, Eric Pascal feasted on 2 bottom 5 defensive rebounding teams when there was just nobody else out there to play minutes. It's going to be a little bit different with Westbrook, Capella, Tucker all chasing rebounds today, as opposed to like Cody Zeller and Marvin Williams.
Oh my God, that's just that is the level of disrespect to Draymond Green there is just really staggering. Whew.
The Warriors are fine then if they got 2 Draymonds.
Yeah, for real. Who needs the other one? Eric Gordon, questionable for this game. If he is out, do you think that opens up Ben McLemore or Austin Rivers as a viable punt option?
Yeah, I think it opens up Ben McLemore. I mean, he's been seeing decent minutes. We saw it in the last game. Got up to 30 minutes. He was kind of right around the 20-minute mark, but I think you'll probably see him the one who benefits directly from that. House a little bit, but House's price point and his minutes are already there, but his price point's up. Yeah, $3,300 Ben McLemore. I don't feel great about it. Like, more times than not when you're playing alongside, you're going to get the Eric Gordon treatment pretty much. You're going to play alongside Russ and Harden at points probably the entire game, and you'll be playing 30 minutes and you'll score like 18 fantasy points. So I probably don't get there, but I think he's the one who benefits the most.
Okay. Houston's kind of weird. It's really just a 2-man team because there's no usage anywhere else. Eric Gordon,
yeah,
0.50 FanDuel points per minute so far this season. Congrats.
Yeah, every slate I've been like manually adjusting him back to like 0.6, 0.65 just to get some of it, and it should just stay at 0.50, I guess. But yeah, like the usage on these guys is crazy. They're both top 4 in drives. I mean, if you look at any slate right now or any stat, they're both like top 10 in it, and they're on the same team. There's nobody else getting anything. Like Clint Capella's price point is nice, but with Harden or with Westbrook returning, I just don't think I want to get there even on this slate.
Okay. Go to the Golden State side where we need to sift through the garbage. First and foremost, I have D'Angelo Russell in. This is obviously a very different equation if he is not in. 9K on FanDuel is probably more than I'm looking to pay for him. I don't get the sense that D'Angelo Russell is the type of guy that's going to look better with worse talent around him. He's 8,200 on DraftKings, though. If he is in, I think 8,200 is a perfectly reasonable price tag for him.
Yeah, I agree. I like Brogdon a little bit more, but it's this range of guards, and this is why I'm probably not going to pay up all that often at center unless these guys just become chalk, but in very heavy chalk. But Russell Westbrook and Malcolm Brogdon stand out to me, and or Russell here, D'Angelo Russell at $8,200, it's nice. And yeah, this is a spot where if he's going to be in there playing 30 plus minutes, he probably shoots 25 times, like here more times than not, just based on the way that this pace is going to be their total in it. And there's just nothing else here for him. So like, don't expect a high assist percentage or anything like that from this guy. It's just, will he go out there and score 35 real life points? And I think against this defense and the way that they're playing, yeah, more times than not, yes. Like the Houston's defense is being pretty skewed a little bit. The Rockets in terms of just teams just shooting lights out against them.
Yeah.
But parts of that is just they're not defending well. So yeah, D'Angelo Russell is completely fine if he plays, and I kind of hope he does, just to kind of spread out some of that ownership that's probably going to go Brogdon's way.
And I'm with you. I prefer Brogdon in that spot, regardless of if he's in or not. What do we do with the rest of the Warriors? Do we go to the new Draymond Green? I can't say that without laughing. Glenn Robinson for 4,800 on FanDuel seems pretty viable to me. Alec Burks, I think, is reasonable as a punt play. 4,400 on FanDuel, 4K on DraftKings. But really, I just don't know what to do with them because anybody can play. It makes no difference which one of these like 13th men on the roster are the ones that get the time. They're just going to go with whoever's playing better.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like if Russell is in, it's really just Russell for me. Like Eric Pascal's price point came up $1,500, like $2,000 over the past 2 games. He's played well, but like I said, against 2 bottom 8 rebounding teams, and now you get one that's top third of the league in rebounding with Westbrook out there, Capella, Tucker. So it's not the same spot for him at all. And now you're chasing pretty much points at an elevated price point. So I'm not going to be taking him there. Kai Bowman obviously becomes in play and probably a decent play at that at 5,900 if D'Angelo Russell's out. But that's about it. Like if Russell's in, it's nobody else here for me. Alec Burks, I would echo if he's out, is okay at $4,000. A guy that started to see his minutes come up the last 2 games with Russell out, and he's a decent point per minute producer. But it's not much. Like I guess you can also echo Jordan Poole, but end of the day is I just want Russell and nothing else here. And it's bad. It's tough because the environment's so good, but I mean, these guys are just all trash.
Yes, they are. If Russell's out, the minutes start to open up a little bit more and you have to pay attention. But look, they're going to play 240 minutes in this game, barring some sort of arena disaster. So something is viable. Yeah. They still have a 108 implied total, even though the Rockets are projected to get to beat the brakes off of them. But it's really hard to sift through it all.
Yeah, I think that if Russell's in, I feel pretty good with this guy shooting at least 20 times and probably closer to 25. So he's going to be a priority.
We have 5 games to go. Now would be the perfect time for everyone to hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. There should be like a little... I'm going to get the direction of this wrong. There should be a little subscribe button. Like, nope, pointing the wrong direction. Down that way in the bottom right-hand corner. Look that way. I'll never get used to pointing in the opposite directions. But go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. We've got some content coming up later today at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Immediately after this show, Laffy and Chris Spags will be breaking down the first look at ownership for Week 10 in the NFL. Jake will have his NHL strategy show coming up at 4 p.m. Alex's game plan will be available for everyone today, 4 p.m. Eastern. You just get the boss man building some lineups for you guys on a stream. We'll have that link tweeted out later on today. Deeper dive, you guys know the drill. 5 p.m. Eastern, Laffy and Adam, best show in the business. And then 6 p.m., live before lock. Set your watches. Shout out to your phones. Let Alexa know. Let Siri know. 6 p.m., you got somewhere to be. Fast Eddie Fear and myself taking you all the way up until 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
It sounds like a good night. It sounds like a good night.
It really does. It really does. It sounds like a decent way to make some money.
Yeah. Can't complain.
Alrighty. Toronto Raptors, Sacramento Kings, 113.5 implied total for the Raptors, 105 for the Sacramento Kings. We'll start on the Raptors side, which I had to look at them a little bit closer today. I knew that they played some pretty heavy minutes out of the gate. I just assumed it wasn't something that I paid super close attention to. Now it just seems to be the thing. Kyle Lowry is averaging 38.8 minutes a game. Fred VanVleet, 37.8. These guys are not leaving the floor. They're basically running a 9-man rotation. We've got Siakam at 9K on FanDuel, 8K on DK. Lowry, 8,700 and 8,400. VanVleet, 7 and 6,300. I don't see anybody here outside of maybe Siakam for 8K on DraftKings that I consider to be like really lockdown plays. But I think there are 5 to 6 legitimate rotational pieces in a DFS lineup today from the Raptors.
Yeah, I think so too. And I like Siakam. He's the priority out of this team for me. Like, he's just way too cheap, facing a 23rd ranked defense in Sacramento, over a 30% usage rate for this guy, 18% assists. The things that you're going to see start to come down. He's just not getting the steals and blocks right now, but that's sort of as expected, as his defensive game, it just has to take a little bit of a decrease when he's going to be taking on such a huge offensive role with no Kawhi there now. So yeah, $8,000 for Siakam. I want to prioritize that a little bit in my lineups. I actually like Fred VanVleet a good amount. Yeah, he's playing huge minutes. And like, when you see Fred VanVleet being the 11th ranked player in the league in touches per game, it's because he's playing huge minutes. Like, he's not just a ball hog dominant guy, but when you're playing 37, 38 minutes a game at that price point, and even when you shoot poorly, you're picking up 5 steals, 5 assists. He's just all over the court. So like, if you're talking about cash, he seems like a pretty stable guy, which if he just shoots well, he's going to have a 40-point performance. And then in tournaments, I like him as well. Lowry's a guy that, yeah, we knew it since Kawhi last year, whenever he would rest, is going to have a huge spike up in terms of his shooting and just overall usage. He's just now priced on a slate where I like him. I don't think he's overpriced. It's just, we already talked about Russell if he plays. We already talked about Brogdon right around him. Even then, even if it's an ownership play, I probably don't take that stand and go to Lowry there. So Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam stand out. I actually like VanVleet a good amount in terms of getting to more 3-max lineups, single entries. And then Anunoby's playing big minutes too. When he has a decent shooting game, he usually pays off that tag. So yeah, I prioritize it Siakam, VanVleet, and then Anunoby.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have shares of Siakam, Lowry, VanVleet, Anunoby. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to have a little bit of Marc Gasol, at least on FanDuel, 5,200 on both sites. I don't really need to force that in on DraftKings. 9,800 for Anunoby on Fantasy Draft, I think, is very interesting if you're looking for a little bit of value. $31 for Lowry on Yahoo is probably his best price clear across the industry. There's a lot to like here against Sacramento, and Sacramento has not exactly been right so far this season. Speaking of, De'Aaron Fox, 8,300 on FanDuel, 7,400 on DraftKings, 13.7 and 30 respectively on Fantasy Draft and Yahoo. You want to get some Fox here against Toronto? I think they're going to make his life a living hell.
You know, I don't want any Fox. Like Sacramento, just in general, if you want to get to Buddy Hield, I still think the price point is fine to where he hits a median there often. And then we know if he just shoots lights out, it's a ceiling. So it's okay to get there. It's hard to prioritize it. Really, just like Bogdan, his value on DraftKings at 4,300 continues to stand out. I mean, he's taking 10 shots per game and he'll always snag a rebound or two. Gets into the category of assists as well. So, like for Bogdan, you just need a decent shooting game. You're relying on that. I'd rather rely on it at a cheap price point than somewhere at like the 6K range. So he's all that stands out. Sacramento's just really tough spot today.
Yeah. Yeah, like Fox grades out pretty well. 7,400 doesn't look too shabby if I compare what's around him, at least on DraftKings. Maybe I like him more than I thought I did. Like, would you rather have De'Aaron Fox or Zach LaVine tonight?
Yeah, that's tough. I'll say LaVine, but I'm usually somebody who goes to LaVine more often.
Okay.
Like he's so scoring dependent, but in tournaments I'll get there just because he usually has lower ownership. But if they're at similar ownerships, I think I'd probably still go LaVine.
Speaking of, do we have any ownership? No, we do not. I will ping Tom. See what we can get moving forward. You going back to the Rashawn Holmes? Well, 6,400 on FanDuel, 5,800 on DK, 17 on Yahoo looks kind of nice.
Yeah, 17 on Yahoo looks good. Probably not here in this matchup. The price point's still nice, playing big minutes, and he's so productive. So I'll kind of probably figure out where like power forward is in an hour or two when I finish up these minutes. But just based on the matchup, I'm not going to get there. Like he's been beating up in some really good matchups. And there's always just the question mark of if Harry Giles comes back today or not and takes 10 center minutes or whatever it might be. So probably don't get there.
Okay. Yeah, he's the tough sell for me when he's priced accordingly. After that, there's not really a lot here that I'm interested in. Trevor Ariza for $100 above the minimum on FanDuel is like oddly appealing to me. I don't know why, but it is. I hate myself for saying that. He's been as bad as Eric Gordon.
Yeah, I also think that Harrison Barnes, just minutes-wise, is appealing. I mean, his minutes have been just either he plays the entire game or at the worst, he'll play 30 minutes. So on DraftKings, he's 5,200, small forward eligibility. It's just a really tough matchup. That's the issue here. Like, it's going to drag a lot of their medians down for me, but if you're just looking for a guy in that range, you're going to get stable minutes out of him.
Keeping it going. 4 games to go. Memphis Grizzlies, Minnesota Timberwolves. Grizzlies 110 implied total. Wolves 114.5. Welcome back, Karl Anthony Towns. You don't normally see him out. He never misses. We'll start on the Memphis side. I don't have any interest in Ja Morant. I will have some interest in 6K on FanDuel, Jonas Valanciunas. He's 6,100 on DraftKings, a little bit more difficult. 11.9 on Fantasy Draft and 20 on Yahoo, both appealing as well, but that FanDuel price I like quite a bit. Jaren Jackson is in play. I think Jay Crowder is in play. Dylan Brooks is $500 cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. I think that is viable from a punt perspective if you're looking to get a little cheaper at shooting guard. What stands out to you from the Grizz?
Yeah, it's Valanciunas. Like if you're right now, I'm just assuming that I get a good amount of guard exposure. So finding some sort of pay down option with upside, and that's exactly what Valanciunas is. Like you've the last 2 games gotten a stable 24 minutes. Is today the day he just gets 26? Maybe, but at the very least, you get 24 from him, and he's priced at a spot on DraftKings at least 6,100, where I feel good about him not ruining my lineups, but he can definitely make them at that price point. Minnesota's 10th in rebounding with Karl Anthony Towns back, so it's not a brutal matchup for Joe Val, and he's probably honestly matchup proof at this point. Has a good usage rate, 23%, a sneaky assist rate of 16%. So if I get 24 minutes out of him, I feel good at this price tag. And then there's only upside from there. So Joe Val, Tyus Jones actually played 5 minutes alongside Morant in the last game. So what you get, they played 3.5, 4 minutes to start the fourth quarter together. So what you get there out of Tyus Jones is like, if that continues, I don't know if it was just testing it out or just game flow wise, but if that happens, he's at good value at the price tag. And his price tag is $4,000 on DraftKings. It's point guard only, so it's a little tough. And I don't know if it holds up, but he's been very good point per minute behind Morant. If he gets any other time on the court just to increase his minutes, it's interesting. And then, Morant, like if he's going to be held to these 28 minutes, if he was going to play 32, 34 minutes today, it's great. 1.2 fantasy points per minute, insane assist percentage and usage. He might just be like, at least so far, like a clone of what Russell Westbrook is doing. Like he can't drive, he can't finish at the rim, but he's fantastic in transition right now. Or actually, all he's doing is driving and finishing at the rim.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic in transition, but can't hit a mid-range shot. So if he gets kind of let go for 34 minutes, he's going to be like an $8,500 point guard. But right now, it's tough to prioritize that on this slate.
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention for this game, Minnesota and Memphis rank third and fourth in my pace metric. This is going to be a track meet.
Yeah. Like I'm not 100% off of Moran in this spot, and that actually helps even more. It's just prioritizing him around other guards, but he's like a tier below in the pricing that if I'm in that range, I feel okay getting to him in this spot. It's just the upside is a little bit capped because of the minutes.
Yeah. I have him in for 28. I just don't think they're going to. I think this Memphis team is a little bit smarter now, and they're just not going to run him into the ground. There's no utility in killing Ja Morant in a season that is not worth anything to them.
Yep. Yeah, I have him at the exact same 28 right now. And then I just gave Tyus Jones the normal backup minutes. I don't know if anything continues. I think it was just fluky kind of playing 4 minutes in the fourth together.
Minnesota side, Towns is back, 11-1 on FanDuel, 10K on DraftKings. He's Karl Anthony Towns, and this is a fantastic spot for him. I will take any amount that I get. I expect it to be quite a bit. We do want to talk. Jeff Teague is questionable with an illness. Shabazz Napier is out already. I don't get the sense that that's going to matter too much for anybody else unless Teague ends up being out, at which point things are going to get real crazy. But I don't think that Napier being out is going to matter with anything. You're just going to see Culver get a couple extra minutes, Okogie get a couple extra minutes, and I think it just spreads out to the rest of the guys. But let's talk about Towns. What do you want to do with him in relationship to Embiid and Drummond?
Yeah, I'll probably get Towns the most there. It's just a really nice price point for, like, I think Napier being out helps a little bit only when he's on the floor with Towns, which isn't the majority of the game. But Napier right now has, I think, the second highest assist percentage on the team. So Towns is a guy who will pass and pick up assists, third highest on the team. It will help him a little bit there. And then, if Teague is out, it's just going to be fantastic for Towns. Last year, with no Derrick Rose or Teague and just anybody who can actually throw an assist, because we know Andrew Wiggins isn't going to do that on this team, it just helps even more for Towns. So, he has a team high usage, 27.7%. His assist rate is shockingly really good. Well, not shockingly at this point, but for a center, really good. If you look at it, 22.2%, shooting lights out and just getting to the free throw line. And now you have a team in Memphis, 24th in defense. If rebounding, Karl Anthony Towns is 5th in rebounding opportunities. So $10,000 is just too cheap on this guy. So if I'm paying up in whatever lineups I get to for center on the slate, he's going to be the priority. We'll talk about Embiid's matchup. We already talked about Drummond. It's just too cheap of a price tag for a guy who the entire offense goes through him. And if Jeff Teague is out, it's going to go through him, and he's also going to create every single shot for his opponent, for his teammates. So, really good spot. Probably like 500 to 1,000 too cheap. Yeah,
Towns is my favorite guy on DraftKings out of those three centers. Drummond second, or Embiid second, Drummond third. Drummond just being $800 more expensive than Towns and $1,300 more expensive than Embiid is a pretty tough sell for me.
Yeah.
What do you want to do with Andrew Wiggins? God, I couldn't even say it without laughing.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to get to Wiggins here. His price tag comes down with Towns coming back, as it should. It's not in the 7K range anymore. 6,600. It's just not a spot I'm going to get to. If Teague is out, it's more attractive. Surely, he's going to have some more just ball handler responsibilities and just take more shots and have to have more assists at that point, just forced into it. But for right now, probably not going to get there. You probably get 32 or more minutes out of him, and he'll probably chuck 16 to 18 shots. But it's just a spot where it's very shooting dependent. I do think the tag is interesting. If he just shoots a good amount in this game, he's going to have to pick up more assists even with Napier out. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. I lean not to get there as much as some other players in the range. What are you doing with, I guess the question is, Wiggins won, and did you give Teague any minutes bump for Napier being out?
I didn't really. I've got him in for 28 right now. I think it just spreads out. I think you could reasonably get to 30. If Teague plays, I'm happy to get Teague shares. I assume he'll just be a guy that I get roughly 10% of. But right now I have Teague in, Napier out. On FanDuel, I'll have a little bit of Okogie, a little bit of Jake Layman, just because they're both sub 4K. But it's not value is just popping off like crazy. Teague will need to be out to really break the Wolves.
Yeah, I agree. And then at that point, Okogie becomes interesting. I don't even know who's next in line, McClawn. I don't even know who that is if he's played a minute. I don't know his first name because it just says Jay McClawn on DraftKings, and that's all I charted down. So I don't even know who the point guards are after that. I don't think they played minutes this year, but he's battling an illness. So unless this is Jaylen Brown type illness, he should be fine to go. So I think he'll be in. And he's at 5,500. That's a spot that I actually do like. especially if Napier's out. I have Teague at 30, but it's really no huge difference for minutes. And I did give him just a slight bump with Napier out, but yeah, the assist percentage will be there. He's gonna have to take more shots. It's a nice spot for 5,500.
Let's see. It'll take too long to dig into. I would assume that Wiggins gets a little bit more ball handling duty if Teague ends up being out, or just a little bit more ball handling duty if or when Teague is not on the floor.
Yeah, that's what I was going to assume too, and I was going to assume that just in general, like he's going to have more assists at that point. I don't get the sense that other guys are going to be creating anything.
Okay. Anything else from this game?
No, that's all.
Alrighty, keeping it moving. 3 games to go. Dallas Mavericks, Orlando Magic, 107.25 implied total for the Mavs, and an absolutely putrid 99.75 for the Magic. Vooch has been not Vooch-like as of late, but we'll start on the Dallas side. Luka Doncic is 11K on FanDuel. Kind of a tough sell for me, even though I love the dude. 1.51 FanDuel points per minute so far this season. 9,800 on DraftKings, though, is not something that I'm going to look away from. I think that 18K on Fantasy Draft and $46 on Yahoo are both equally as interesting. FanDuel is really just the place that I want him the least. Talk to me about Luka, and then if Porzingis is on your radar, talk to me about him as well.
Yeah, so Luka at 9,800. It's a little bit tougher for me to get to on this slate with all the guards that we have in the low 9 and the 8K range, but like if Luka's ownership just comes in lower, and I doubt it will just from what this guy's been doing triple-double wise. And I mean, right now he's second in assist opportunities behind LeBron, number 1 in touches per game, seeing 15 rebounding chances per game, back-to-back triple-doubles. Like he's obviously fantastic. He should be around this price point. So 9,800, I'm not going to say it's overpriced. It's just like context of the slate. If I can save a 1,600 to Brogdon, I'm imagining I do that more often. That said, like I said, if the ownership comes in low, I'll get to him. I don't have any interest in Porzingis in this matchup. Just a really tough spot against the Magic here for Porzingis. Yeah. He matches up pretty poorly, at least for me, against them. So it's really just Luka. Like the pricing on DraftKings, when you get to Luka, Porzingis, it just falls off a cliff for who's next. And it makes sense. Like there's just nobody left on this team. Dwight Powell at 4K is interesting if Kleber's out again. But again, really brutal spot. I'd rather go elsewhere.
With you. You pretty much nailed it all. There's not much outside of Doncic and Porzingis, and I don't think that Porzingis is a particularly good play today either. So,
do you have interest? I mean, I know it's a bad spot. Do you have interest in Powell if we see Kleber out? Just the minutes are there. Just everything else about it is scary.
He's been bad. He's 4,400 on FanDuel. I think that is reasonable, but with Turner being 6,600, if he's in, it's really hard to want to go any further down than that. Especially, and then we've got Joval at 6K as well. I think both of those guys, even if Kleber is out, are better options on FanDuel. On DraftKings, no issue going to it. Is he power forward center?
No, he's just center now.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's just center on DraftKings.
I would have bet my life on that just because everybody has 2 positions except for Bradley Beal, but
yeah, they made him, and I think Tristan Thompson was like the other one I noticed are just center eligible now.
Okay. What do we do with Vooch? 8,600 FanDuel, 7,900 on DraftKings. Just hasn't been right so far this season.
Yeah, hasn't been right, and it's just this whole team hasn't been right. Like he has a similar usage rate as last year. He's shooting clearly worse, like a 10% lower effective field goal percentage. But the big thing that I'm noticing is just like the whole team's not shooting. So when you have like Markelle Fultz as your best shooter in terms of individual stats right now, not great. His 21 assist percentage last year is now down to 13. So that's a big knock. When you combine that with the shooting, you get a $7,900 Vooch on this slate. So I do think it's interesting. I actually do have interest in it at this price because eventually he's going to shoot a little bit better and his teammates are going to knock down shots, which helps his assist percentage. But it's not all going to happen in one game. That said, though, he doesn't have to go for his 50-point games today to pay it off. He's 7,900. So I have some interest. That said, though, like a lot of this team, not great. I think Evan Fournier is okay for cash. He's leading the team in usage. He's a guy who just stands out, like you can rely on for somewhere around the 25-point range, but not much more than that. And Fultz I had last night, had interest in him. He only ends up playing 24 minutes, but he got pulled due to some foul trouble with 1:26 left in the first half. I've been projected for 26 today, and it gives me a good amount of him. So he's probably the guy who gets the most, and then Vooch.
Okay. I'll be getting Vooch and basically nothing else from Orlando. His shot selection is all essentially the same. He's playing exactly the same amount of minutes that he played last year. Effective field goal percentage last year, 55%. This year, 43%.
Yeah.
He's shooting 19% from 3. He's shooting 47.5% from 2. He's just not shooting well over 217 minutes. I'm going to assume that his shooting rights start to look like whatever he's done in 17 and 18. So I can't get away from it. I'm not adjusting anything for it. Chat earlier was mentioning that Vooch might sit for load management today. I have not heard that. I have not seen that anywhere, but I guess keep an eye on it. We'll probably know that moving forward. But as of right now, he's in. If he ends up being out, I assume that Khem Birch becomes one of the more popular plays of the day.
Yeah, I would assume the exact same thing. I didn't see anything either, but maybe it's just something that they say during like the broadcast that there's a chance that this happens. But yeah, I would assume that it's Khem Birch over like a guy like Bamba, right?
I think Bamba's already out.
Oh, yeah. They said that he was going to be resting on this night. So, yeah, there you go. Khem Birch will be – I don't know who else comes behind him after that.
Yeah, I just assume that Vooch is playing. And I'm going to have at least a little bit, but play better, dude. It's really that simple. You're shooting like me.
Yeah, and like you said, everything's pretty much the same. Just him and his teammates aren't knocking down shots, which should change after like a handful of games.
Right, like you're never just going to be suddenly awful forever. They have a 44.4% effective field goal percentage on cleaning the glass. That's dead last and 3.4% behind the Knicks.
Yeah, no, they're all shooting terrible. Like Jonathan Isaac is one of, I think, the worst players right now in that category right now in the league. So Aaron Gordon, like price point's fine. You just have to get 3 threes out of him. Will you get it? I don't know. So if you do, then you can play him at 5,900. Otherwise, he probably doesn't get there for you.
They're shooting 27% from 3.
Yeah, no, they are terrible to watch. I played Fultz in 2 games now, one last night, but they're just no fun to watch this team. They're like the exact same team.
Oh yeah, there's really nothing different. They are the worst shooting team at the rim and from 3. You're not going to score a lot when that's the case.
Yep. Yeah, nothing in between. So yeah, at 4,100, I think Fultz is okay again, and then just Vooch. That's about it, though. It's kind of gross.
Not a very appealing fantasy game as far as I'm concerned.
No, not at all.
Utah Jazz and 76ers. Now, this is a very appealing basketball game. That much I can tell you. 2 of the best defensive teams in the league. Maybe the 2 best defensive teams in the league when all is said and done. Yeah. 106.25 implied total for the Jazz. 104.25 for the Sixers. Embiid is back. Let's just talk about it a little holistically for the Jazz. Gobert, Mitchell, Conley, Bojan are probably the 4 guys that are most in play for anything. I don't really see anybody standing out. They're all sort of the same for me. Do you have any priorities here?
No priorities from Utah. Yeah, like you said, it's just a really tough matchup. They're all priced pretty good. I think Mitchell is priced down a little bit, but I think that's because of the matchup. Mitchell with no Dante Exum still, like he's practicing in the G League, but that's it. And you're not going to have Moutier for this game. So Conley should see a stable point guard minutes around like 34, 35. Mitchell could get some point guard minutes, which in theory can help with like assist rates and things like that. But it didn't happen the last time Moutier was out for Mitchell all that much. So we saw it happen a little bit last year, but not so much in a small sample this year. So I think guys like Joe Ingles and Mitchell might get some more ball handling duties. But for the most part, it's just Mitchell for me. If you like Conley at the price tag and just think that he could beat this matchup, sure. But I just don't have faith in it.
I like Conley a lot at $21 on Yahoo, where I assume that he goes completely unowned.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if people are just looking at game logs there.
Right. And he is 0.7. It's so bad. Like, think about it like this. He's at 0.74 fantasy points per minute. And we're like, oh my God, Mike Conley has been dreadful this year. That is so many more fantasy points than Eric Gordon.
I was going to say than Eric Gordon, right? I'm just going to assume it's smaller sample. Like, he hasn't looked good, but we're also judging 5-6 games out of him and in a new team, in a new system. So I guess in like a month, we can tell a little bit more.
Let me pull him up here. Yeah. So for his entire career, he has been like 75th percentile in points per shot attempt. He is 8th percentile so far this season. Overall shooting numbers, he's shooting 28% from 3 as basically like a 36% shooter for his career. He's got a 38% effective field goal percentage. Apparently Mike Conley is the point guard version of Vooch.
Jesus. Do you have anything up in terms of like drives? I imagine that's not his forte on this team as much, but
yeah. So he is in the 8th percentile in terms of shots at the rim for point guards right now. He has never really been that's never really been a big part of his arsenal. Last year he was at 20th percentile. the year before that, he only played 12 games, so the numbers look a little weird.
Yeah.
But he became much less of a driver as the career went on, shooting a lot more of his shots from three, which he is still doing now, but he's just not getting to the rim.
Yeah, that's what I was going to assume just with Mitchell there, who definitely drives. And I just didn't know, if not watching these games closely, if he's changing up what he usually does in a little bit, or if he's just playing poorly. And it just seems like he's just playing poorly and should change.
He's traded X amount of shots at the rim for a couple more that are just like more of the short mid-range stuff.
Okay.
And he's not making anything that he shoots regardless.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it should turn around unless he's just falling off the age cliff at 32, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he's been essentially injured for like 6 straight years. So it's been rough for him. Gobert, Mitchell, Conley, Bojan. No one stands out for me. I will have roughly 10% of all of those guys. Gobert is the easiest guy for me to get away from just because one center on FanDuel is tough. Now, we go to Philly. 5 guys that we could talk about: Embiid, Simmons, Harris, Horford, Richardson. Embiid is 10-4 on FanDuel, 9,500 on DK, $47 on Yahoo. I just want Embiid here. I am not at all worried about Rudy Gobert for a Joel Embiid matchup. I think that Gobert negatively impacts guys like Simmons and Harris a lot more than he negatively impacts Embiid. So I'm happy to go to Joel in his return. I have him behind Towns, but he's my second favorite center.
Yeah, exactly. He's behind Towns for me too, especially at just a low price point for Towns, but also Embiid, like 9,500 is affordable. It's a spot where, I'm not ever really worried about, unless this was like the Raptors last year, a matchup for Embiid in just a regular season game against Gobert. He's probably the second best offensive, or right there, top 2 offensive center in the league. So yeah, Embiid I'll get to a little bit. I really want to see what the ownership is on these guys, like just at center in general. There's going to be guys that break away, but I imagine people jump off of Drummond, jump onto Towns, and the same thing happens for Embiid. So there's been spots last year where you would get Embiid at like 8% owned on the slate, and he can smash for 65 points. So that's like the one spot where I'll get to more of him. But for the most part, he's not a guy that I prioritize. The slate in general is prioritizing guards for me, and then Towns.
He's only played 76 minutes so far this season, but 1.86 FanDuel points per minute. That is still 1/100th of a point behind Karl Anthony Towns' rate in slightly more minutes, and 2/100ths of a point behind Giannis in 3 times as many minutes. Damn, Giannis is good.
Yeah, no, Giannis, every time that, the first 3 or 4 games of the year, I would manually bump him down slightly because he would just pop out of every single thing he was doing for me. But yeah, they've all been really good. I think that just end of the year, if this Wolves team could win any games and Towns stays healthy, he should be an MVP candidate. They're just not going to compete.
Right. They won't have enough wins to make it happen in the long term,
exactly.
But he's going to be very much in the discussion for first team All-NBA center. What do you want to do with Simmons, Harris, Horford, Richardson? I think Richardson for 4,400, even though he hasn't been great. I think that's a price tag that you kind of need to pay attention to, especially with his eligibility on DraftKings. What else do you like?
Yeah, I like Richardson because of the price tag. He's going to play big minutes in an offense that everybody has their own role. He's a guy who's not going to get a ton of assists. He'll shoot a bunch of shots, and if he could hit some threes, he's good for you. So he hasn't been doing that so far this year. He's been pretty poor everywhere from shooting, and that's why his price point is where it is. So if you just kind of think he's not this type of a player, which he probably shouldn't be, I like Richardson there. It's, for me, Richardson, a little bit of Embiid as an ownership play, and then I'm probably not going to get too much of Simmons or Al Horford with Embiid back for Horford, but I think Tobias Harris is totally fine at the price point on DraftKings of 6,600. He's been performing really well. He has close to a 20% usage rate, and it's just been a good year for him so far. I don't think that Embiid coming back will crush him, and at that price point, I think it's fair.
Yeah, I actually like him a little bit on FanDuel. You've got Giannis at $12K. You've got Siakam $3,000 cheaper as the second most expensive guy. And then you get to Tobias Harris at 6,800. So there's just a monster. If you don't have Giannis in your lineup, I think Harris looks perfect as a relatively cheap small forward option. It's a rough game. It's going to be a pace down spot for Philly. It's going to be a defensive battle. I don't expect a ton of ownership to be going to anyone outside of Embiid. It's just not really that kind of spot. But I think that makes for an interesting pivot in a tournament, depending on where ownership comes out, especially at small forward, a place that is usually pretty difficult to project.
Yeah, I agree. And like, I mean, his assist percentage is up. It should stay up. If Josh Richardson starts knocking down shots, it'll really just help the entire team, and probably Harris the most and Simmons just for their assists. But Richardson, I imagine, is the guy I get the most of if we don't have value opening up across the next like 8 hours. But I'm hoping we get something, and we probably should. But
Yeah.
for right now, Richardson at that price point seems like really good built-in value.
Okay. Anything else for this game?
No, that's it.
Okay. Final game coming up. So it's the perfect opportunity for you guys to hit that like button one last time. 738 of you in here now. Get to 738 likes. How fun would that be?
I think that'd be really fun. Is there any incentive? Do we become stronger analysts if they hit a like? Is there something like that?
I don't think that we can get any stronger, if I'm being honest with you. So there is that. No incentives on
physically,
this show right now.
like physically stronger. I think I could do something there.
If I could get physically stronger from likes, that would be really great, because I haven't been able to figure out a way to get physically stronger other than working at it, and that seems like a lot of work.
I have a quick.
We got time.
It's not the greatest. Okay, it's not the greatest answer for the whole physical thing, but the cheap $10 TJ Maxx pull-up bars, easy. Just walking through 5 pull-ups or whatever it might be.
I'm even
right
gonna
there throughout the day.
I'll have to contact my aunt. She is a TJ Maxx manager. I'll get that at like 25% off too. Coming in That's even golden. Cheaper now, baby. Woo!
Yeah, you got the sale on top of the sale. I like that.
She's been hooking.
Anti plug.
What up, Aunt Pink? I'm gonna bet my life you're not watching this, Dad. If you are watching, shout out to your sister.
I know my mom is watching this.
Really?
I guarantee so. My mom watches like every single day at work.
Hi, Mom. I'll try to not say some of the more ridiculous things that I normally say on this show.
She could take it. She's an Italian woman from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. I will say that don't tune in when it's Laffy and I. That show goes off the rails.
That's fair.
Late night hammer. Los Angeles Clippers. Milwaukee Bucks. 112.75 implied total for the Clippers. 115.25 for the Bucks. No Kawhi Leonard tonight. Load management, so he's going to chill on the sidelines. Obviously, we still don't have Paul George, which means I think this is like the place with the most value on the slate. Lou Will, 6,700 on FanDuel, 6,500 on DK. He's 12-5 on Fantasy Draft. He is looking like maybe my favorite play of the entire day. I'm going to get a bunch of Montrezl Harrell. I'm going to get a bunch of Pat Beverly. JaMychal Green and Mo Harkless are priced like they're not going to get a ton of minutes. I think Mo Harkless at 3,600 on FanDuel and 3,200 on DK is just a fantastic value play. What about you? In a pace-up spot, you going to get a bunch of Clippers?
Yeah. I really like JaMychal Green here. He was the one who benefited the most last game when Kawhi went out. Again, small sample, but they're trying to get this guy on the court as much as they can. They should just put him in more than Patrick Patterson, which we've been seeing as of late. But he played, I think, 27 minutes the last time out. Had a really good game with no Kawhi out there. So 3,900, I like him. He fits into a small forward spot on DraftKings. And then, everybody else, I don't know, and I probably did, but just take the right guys off the court since January for this Clippers team in terms of no Kawhi, no SGA, Gallo, Tobias, Harris, all those guys from beginning of last year, but a huge 600-minute sample for Harrell and Lou Williams with pretty much the most productive players on the court, or guys who can take assists or points away from them. And you're getting them both in the 1.3 range for point per minute production. And they're both going to, and Lou Williams might start, I believe he started last game with no Kawhi. They're just going to both have like a 1.25 point per minute production and play 32 to 35 minutes. And I prioritize it Lou Williams, JaMychal Green, and Harrell, but that's not to say Harrell's like a last option. He's going to be ahead of like a lot of other power forwards for me. Those are the 3 guys. Pat Beverly should see a little bit of a bump here. It's just at that point, if you actually need it, and I don't think that we do right now.
Yeah, I don't really see how I get away from any of these guys, really. Even Landry Shamet, 3,700 on FanDuel. You're more than happy to pay that sort of price at point guard, no less. Basically, the like best pay down option there.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And like the issue with, or maybe not even an issue, like if you want to say like the matchup is terrible for Lou Will, the end of the day is Lou Will, if he shoots 24 times today or whatever he might, probably closer to 20, it's just not a matchup thing at all at that point. He's just one of the better shot creators in the entire league. Same thing for Harrell in terms of just there's nobody that can really, I mean, there's a couple of players, but I'm not too concerned about Harrell having a matchup against Brook Lopez here today at all. So they're both fine. Like the entire team of Milwaukee's defense can scare you at some spots, but not for these guys.
No, not at all. Nothing's changing it for me. I'm going to have more Clippers than I'll have probably any other team as of right now, depending on where news goes.
Yeah, I think that makes complete sense. Like, also, the last game that I think it was the game where Harrell got in a ton of foul trouble, the last game that Kawhi ended up missing. So I'm hoping that just keeps some of these players' ownership down because of the matchup, because I don't think it's going to impact anything.
Okay. Go to the Milwaukee side. I don't really see a ton here. Giannis is $12,000 on FanDuel, 11,700 on DK, 20,700 on Fantasy Draft, and $54 on Yahoo. Obviously, I don't have a problem getting to Giannis at all. He's fantastic. He has the second highest overall projection for me on the slate. But to pay that much with James Harden $500 cheaper in a cupcake matchup, to price yourself out of Drummond or Towns, I just can't imagine paying all the way up for Giannis in a GPP today, at least on DraftKings. On FanDuel, where you have to play two small forwards, as value starts to open up across the industry, the ownership for Giannis can just naturally climb. But while I like him and I think it's a perfectly fine spot and he projects really well, salary makes it kind of hard.
Yeah, I mean, even on DraftKings, like, even if ownership or value opens up, it's just still a steep price point. Like, yeah, Harden's right there, much better spot. If you're trying to just fit in a small forward, I guess that makes sense then just to get to him. But if you don't need a position reasoning to play Giannis today, then I wouldn't get there. There's just so many other guys like across different positions. I feel really good about Drummond's production at the end of the day, finishing up right around for $900 less. Giannis on this slate, you have a priced up Bledsoe, who should be priced up because he's performing well, but it's still a spot where I don't think they put him over 28 minutes. They just have not been doing that. Played 24 in the last game, out of his mind, but it just doesn't seem sustainable. Seems like a really hot spell of 3 or 4 games. If the minutes come up, I like it, but when the price point comes up following it and we don't know about the minutes, I'm not going to get there. I do think it's a good spot for Brook Lopez, but you're not going to get a ton of minutes, and you rely a lot on shooting compared to other spots, and you have like Harrell, not that much more expensive relative to the slate. So a 9-game slate, I don't think you have to pay 11.7 for Giannis. That said, if he's like 3% owned, sure, do something with it. But he's not going to be a guy that I prioritize or get to. Yeah, Milwaukee, it's the complete opposite. A lot of Clippers stand out. Milwaukee, it's like Giannis and Bledsoe are just very meh plays at their price points and minutes.
Yeah, I don't really care to get much from the Milwaukee side outside of whatever I get of Giannis. Ultimately, that's just kind of it for this late night hammer. It's very much Clippers. A testament to how good the Clippers are. This is still a 2.5 point line with no Paul George, no Kawhi Leonard. That's just how deep they are with like quality NBA players.
Yeah, I mean, really quality. I mean, like, Pat Bev's gonna be like their 4th best player in the court, or like maybe 3rd, but he's just fantastic on both sides.
Yeah, like imagine, like, what would be the best example? Like, how good would, like, imagine dropping Lou Will on the Warriors right now. The dude would shoot
that's the thing,
600 times.
Yeah, when you just kind of leave him as this 6 man on teams and he just wins the award, or Harrell right there wins the award every single year. Like, this guy is just, he's overrated because he's a 6. Well, not overrated, but he's rated properly because he's a 6 man. But if you put him on any other team, he's significantly underrated for the production that he does. And maybe it's like more ball hoggy coming off the bench, but either way, like, he's fantastic. And if you watch any interviews of Lou Will on YouTube or wherever, he's like one of the best guys to just watch doing interviews. I don't know what it is about him, just really entertaining.
I love that dude, especially when he's shouting out Alex in tweets.
People need to know about that at like 3 o'clock in the morning, responding to what the boss man Osmo here.
Yeah, which I believe was a subtweet too. Like, Alex did not tag him in that.
No,
tweet.
Yeah, it was a subtweet. He was definitely searching his just name on Twitter. Yeah.
Didn't realize that Alex was just not serious.
Yeah, he doesn't have the context of the DFS Twitter bubble.
No, not at all. All right, so let's sum it all up here before we toss this over to Spags and Laffy at 11 o'clock. Who is your favorite pay-up option of the day?
All right, so let me get this whole thing up here. So favorite pay-up option on the day for me, what are we going to say, 9K or above? I'll go with Towns.
Okay. We are on a similar page, but I think that I have to go Harden over Towns. I like Towns quite a bit, but I am banking on James Harden finally like making a shot in volume, and one of those days is going to come where he makes a stupid amount of threes and still shoots like 16 free throws and has 90, and I want to be there for it. He could do all of that in 3 quarters today.
Yeah, he should have done it in the last game if he made 3 more threes.
Right, exactly. Favorite value option of the day, and then we're done.
All right, so So value, I'm going to go like just closer to like the dirt cheap type of range. I'll go Jermichael Green at 3,900.
I'm with you.
Fits into a small forward spot on that. Should play. I'll probably have him in for 28 minutes.
I like it. Please hit the like button, guys. Again, Lofty and Spags will be up talking Week 10 NFL ownership at 11 a.m. We've got plenty of content coming up throughout the rest of the day. You can find Sal at Salvetri DFS. You can see that tag underneath his face if you're watching the video, which is even easier to figure it out. Shout out to Yahoo Sports for being the presenting sponsor of this show. Check out Emacs Cash Game article for a link to sign up. And the promo code is AWESEMO for $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. And if you want to sign up at awesemo.com, use the promo code NBA Strategy for 50% off your first month with us. Sal, anything left? Anything you want to plug?
No, that's it. Yeah, just Twitter, like you said, and I do have a YouTube channel, same exact name, Sal Vetri. But yeah, best of luck, everybody, and make sure to just watch 9-game slate. I'm sure more people will be wrestling for load management. We'll have to watch all that.
Bingo, guys. Like button on the way out. Subscribe button as well. We will talk to you again tomorrow morning. Good luck tonight.